Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Eldson McGhee, your host, and I'm here with my brother in Christ and my brother in arms. Tony, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, man, I went through some stuff that every veteran need to know. Everybody know that I was in the hospital for a minute, and I went to the hospital because I'm a 100% service-connected disabled veteran with multiple combined disabilities. One of my disabilities is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, combat PTSD, with TBI. One of the symptoms of my disability is bleeding ulcers, right? And so I had all the symptoms of bleeding ulcers. I was dizzy. I thought I was going to pass out. I got blocks all over my body, and my stools was black. So I called VA. They told me to come to the emergency room. I went to emergency. They kept me because they couldn't find that I was bleeding. So they knew something was wrong because of my blood levels and all the things that took place. And they kept me there to, I got tired of them keeping me there. And I left AMA because I wasn't getting the answers I want. I'll walk out in a minute, So I walked out, went talked to Dr. Peters. Leroy was at our monthly membership meeting talking about Dr. Peters. Yeah. Well, I've been on Alice AI for pretty close to a year now. And I couldn't say it wasn't working. I couldn't say it was working, as I said at the monthly membership meeting. But anyway, Dr. Peters took all the 12 medications that I'm on and told me that I was over-medicated, and I was suffering from side effects of the medication, not from the conditions that the medication is supposed to be treating. Yeah. This is a reason for veterans to go to the poll, Tony, because of the VA. The VA and how it, not just the medical system, but the claim system, the barrier department, a lot of us don't know that we got 3 levels of government in the VA. A barrier, that's the last one, and benefits and medicine. And all of them is one VA all across the country. Now, we know that the Atlanta VA is one of the worst VAs in the country. And also, running for office right now, I tried to address this issue at the Atlanta VA, but he's not even campaigning to veterans. They just running ads. They need to stop running ads and start coming into the community to campaign, because this guy that's running against him is a mega person, right? Mm-hmm. And we got to understand that they spent so much money in the primaries that they was able to stack the deck with mega candidates. Stack the deck. They just absolutely stacked the deck with mega candidates. Not just in Georgia, Tony.
No.
All across the nation. Mm-hmm. Now, veterans, we're the fastest, our generation. I'm going to just say this because we need to look into the Hour magazine. Veterans come out every month. We're the fastest dying generation of veterans ever. Why? Because of PTSD, Agent Orange exposures, toxic exposures. And right now we got 2 bills going through Congress. One of them is saying that overhaul VA. And everybody know that I've been crying for an overhaul of VA for years. But this bill, overhauling VA, ain't what we need. It's not what we need. And I think every veteran need to go to the website and look at these bills. The other one is the Care for Your Veterans Act. We don't need that kind of care because it is still pharmaceutically driven. right? Everybody know I'm a former VA employee. I was actually, now only God could have did this. I was administrative supervisor of mental health, meaning I was over mental health administratively.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was actually over the homeless program, and I got to see how VA fund homelessness, right? It's like a business. You done turn it into a business, and they're giving out millions of dollars every year, but the homeless population is not decreasing; it's increasing. And the ugly part about it is increasing with older veterans. Don't look like that, Tony.
Okay.
You look like you was finna cuss, brother. I don't want you finna cuss now. I want you to you was finna say something, brother. I got to saw it.
I can't. I'm confused as to why the older veterans aren't getting the priority that they need. It appears, and I can only say it appears because I'm not in it, that they're aware of what is needed, but they're choosing not to treat it.
Well, now let me say this too, and I'm talking to all these veterans. I hope y'all watching. One of the things we don't want to go to the VA. Because it's listen, I know it was in the news at the Fort McPherson VA. Vietnam veteran got beat down out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of attitude that some of the veterans confront at the VA, so they don't want to go. Listen, I was almost on a gunny when I went to see about because I was hesitating to go out there because it's the services that we get when we get to the VA. Well, you think about Kenny. We all know Kenny, right? That used to be here every Saturday. He could be here. Kenny was a disabled veteran, right? He went to the VA complaining about his mental problem, and I heard him on the phone because I'm talking to him when he get there. He telling them folks, I got a bad heart too, man. He said, I'm going through I need some help. They discharged him. He went home and had a massive heart attack. We got to look at the reasons for people to vote in this election coming up. We have to connect the dots. I can remember Albert E. Love used to say, if you don't know who's representing you, you committed suicide.
Yeah.
If you don't know who represent you in the governments, that's supposed to be representing you in the government, the greatest country on planet Earth, the greatest military on planet Earth, the greatest system design on planet Earth. There's no other system like us, for the people, by the people, and of the people. What has happened is that we have watched billionaires, trillionaires too, have taken over the economy of the country. When it started out, it used to be antitrust laws, right? Where, big companies couldn't buy up all the little companies, so it was a balance. Well, we watched over the years businessmen through the Heritage Foundation and, these kind of far-right organizations that had money, bought candidates. They've got it now where it used to be time you could get a list of names and run for office. Now it takes millions of dollars to actually run for dog catcher. We need to our community, our veterans, especially us, because the civilians are gonna have a hard time understanding this, that it is a government by the people, of the people, and for the people. And we have a right to make sure that those that are working in our governments are representing us, representing the people, making sure that veterans getting the care that they need, that they're not over-medicated, right? That when they show up at the VA, they are received and treated. And this is not just veterans now I'm talking about. We're looking at the whole healthcare system in this country where we got people right now that are not veterans that can't go to the doctor because they don't have health care insurance. We got to make sure people understand we need to vote now like we never voted before. Because the conditions, right, that we're suffering, that we're watching in this country, think about this. Trump just went to China with a plane load of billionaires, right? A plane load of billionaires. Before he went to China, he was talking about Iran had to unconditional surrender, right? Stop. They couldn't have this, they couldn't have that. After coming back from China, we got the news that China was funding Iran, giving them missiles. The missiles that shot down the two planes that he said that they couldn't do because they had devastated them. Now I'm you military, I'm military, so we can talk about this.
Yeah.
He signed a memorandum of understanding, not a peace treaty, but a memorandum of understanding that gave Iran more power, more advantage than they ever had before he started the war. See, we got to learn why we need to vote in this November like we never voted before. We got to make sure that they can't buy this election.
Part of the problem, based from what I'm seeing, is we have a voting population that is unaware of what's going on right in front of them. They see the problem, but they don't understand why it's happening the way it is. And it's all because of the mega people that are presently running the government.
Running the government. They took over.
And so their concern is not with the common citizen, it's not with everyday people that are actually supposed to be benefiting from this government doing what it's doing, and because they're only concerned with what they're going to get out of it. And because they have control, and they aren't supposed to have the control, but because of their position of control, they're doing whatever they want. And they're not listening to the at one time we could contact our congressman and explain to them, what the problem is. You don't always get to talk directly to the congressman, but you talk to their representatives. And you felt comfortable based on past experience that what you told their representative would get back to them. We don't have that comfort anymore.
No.
It appears
the accountability is gone.
Yeah, totally gone. And that's where the struggle. And so if we're not comfortable explaining to them, we don't have a voice. Our concerns, they're there, but they're muted.
They're muted.
They're muted. We give them a priority. Our concern is a higher priority, but by the time it gets to our representative, it's watered down because our representatives are not hearing directly from us. They're hearing from, a lot of times, lobbyists.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, and you know this, you just hit the nail on the head, because you know what we've had to go through, with what we have been able to accomplish in spite of the oppositions. Right?
Yeah.
Because why? We put boots on the ground. We were going in places, Tony, when they saw us coming, they tried to duck. they really tried to duck. I'm talking about these elected officials right here in Fulton County.
Right, yeah.
I ain't talking about nobody else. I'm talking about our hometown now, politicians. And this is what it's going to take in this election. We got to put boots on the ground. These folks need to, I ain't got no problem with them campaigning with media, but they control, this mega crew control media right now.
Yeah.
So they can get more done with media than we can. These candidates got to come rally in the community so that people will know them and understand why they need to vote like they never voted before. These candidates just want to raise money and do ads. Fill your mailbox with flyers and leaflets about who they are and why you should vote to them. And ain't nobody never seen them in the community. They never met them face to face. Right now, it is more critical than ever before for these candidates to come into the community throughout Fulton County.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, the millionaires, the billionaires gonna buy November.
Yeah. There was once a time when somebody was running for office, one of the places that you generally would probably get a chance of meeting them was at the churches.
At the churches.
Because they would show up on those Sundays,
Ooh-wee.
you know, and
Nah.
soliciting votes and making promises. But even then, you got their ear because you were talking directly to whoever the person was that was running for office, as opposed to their representative. Because when you talk to their representative, we have absolutely no idea what part of our complaint, our comments, even our criticism, or even our compliments will get back to them. But when they were, as you say, boots on the ground in the churches those Sundays before, you got a chance to talk to them. But now that's totally out the window. You know, it's almost like when you go to their office to talk to them, you never see them. You talk to their representatives, and they're sitting there with the pen and the paper writing down. We have absolutely no idea what they were writing down while they were, and how much of it got back to our representative.
Yes.
And so we don't know. And it's almost as if we've lost contact. You know, there were times when we would see our representatives in our community. We don't see them now. We don't
see their ads.
We see their ads.
And one of the things that I noticed in these primaries, those people that could put the most ads out got the most votes, right? Let me say, and also those that had boots on the ground. Now I'm gonna just reflect back to this Fulton County election. Now we watched that happen in a way that is unbelievable. That two people had more name recognition in the community, long standing now, than the young lady that won. I'm not against her. You know, it's just that where did she come from? Yeah. You know, she had no name recognition that I'm talking about in our community that we know of, Tony. Yeah. You know, and we didn't come here. We from here, so we've been knowing the name Arrington for the last 50 years
at least. Yes.
The name Rod Pitts for the last 20 years or 30 years in the community, and here's somebody come up. You know, an awesome young lady. I'm not, awesome, really awesome young lady. Met her and like her a lot. You know, and I think she's gonna do a good job, right? But they're having the name recognition and the credibility to go up against this MAGA crew and governing. Yeah. See, when I say getting elected and governing is two different things, because had it not been for Michael Julian Barnes, had not been for Michael Julian Barnes, we wouldn't have the memorial in Piedmont Park. It wouldn't be there already established now, because we would have still been fighting for it. Yeah. We would have still been fighting for it because of Michael Julian Barnes becoming the appointment. Then here come Marvin Arrington Jr. So we made it a county-wide movement that has set up the Fulton County Veteran Empowerment Commission. You was finna say something.
Yeah. That was one of the beautiful things about this memorial, what it did. You know, we had Michael Julian Barnes, he was there. But when Marvin Arrington found out about it, he stepped up, and he wanted it more inclusive.
More
and
inclusive.
so he said,
More inclusive.
if you include Fulton County, which we hadn't really looked at.
We hadn't even thought about it. We
were focused.
We were focused
on what we were getting. And he came up and offered us Fulton County.
Yeah, I can remember him saying, don't ask me for something I can't do.
Exactly.
But you got to include all of Fulton County.
Yes.
Showing right then that he had a heart for all of the people in Fulton County, all of the veterans in Fulton County.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying we got to get boots on the ground. If we gonna meet this challenge, and it's a challenge to us all across the nation, right? It's not just here in Georgia, but it is more profound in Georgia and some of the southern states than it is in other states. But veterans all across this nation got to realize now it's time for us to come together in a way that we're gonna keep our oath. To defend the Constitution and these people of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. That's the oath that we took. And right now we can see that we pledge allegiance to a flag. It ain't liberty and justice for everybody. We watching them build concentration camps all across this country for immigrants that most of them do never come here because to seek a better life. And work and doing good things in the community have helped the economy grow. And we stand back like we don't know what's happening with them. But veterans need to come together.
Yeah.
We got to lead this charge because right now the Constitution way of our livelihood is under siege.
Yep. Yep.
It's under siege, Tony. And like, I'm going to tell you, but every time I go down to that memorial and touch the names, especially the name of Lewis Herman and the brothers that I went to high school with, that went to die for this country when they couldn't even vote. They were not old enough to vote. But they gave their all for us to get here where we're at today. And we are.
I know. You're right. You saw patron being a patron of this country, loving this country, believing in this country, and that's why they volunteered. Some volunteered to go and make that sacrifice for the country. Unfortunately, we have leadership in this country that doesn't view the country that way. We have leadership in this country who is only looking out for themselves and their cronies. No concern at all for those citizens. No concern at all for the 240 young men whose names appear on that memorial in Peanut Park.
And their families.
Yes.
And their neighborhoods.
Yes.
And we look at the wonderful, I'm going to have to say it later, the wonderful mayor of the city of Atlanta now.
Yeah.
I think he got the spirit of Maynard Jackson, really, with his way he's doing his stuff in the city of Atlanta. He signed off on the memorial. But he's doing something else right now that we need to make sure we get the boats out to complete. The neighborhood reinvestment initiative that's going to address our neighborhoods that's been left out. They've been left out. The development in our neighborhood has been left out. But now we got a young politician, a young mayor that's focusing his administration on this, doing this. And we got to look at the fact that gerrymandering the voting lines don't necessarily mean they're gonna win, right? What it does, it does cut through the voting apparatus in a way that it spread the votes out. But when we start looking at the fact that we got veterans in every district, veteran families in every district in this state, no matter how much they gerrymander, Tony, we outnumber them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to act like we know we outnumber them. Cause see, we just went into a war, an illegal war, totally illegal. And we got young folks killed, and we don't know how many killed. We don't know how many was wounded. But they's in Congress right now trying to cut veterans benefits. Families of veterans take care of veterans when they come home messed up. My family was there for me. If it had not been for my family, I don't know where I would be right now because the government was not prepared to receive me back in this country wounded in combat. You got to know this. There's a reason for us to go to the polls like we never been to the polls before. Because this crew has shown us they have no respect for the Constitution. The man went up there and demolished the history of the White House. They should make him put it back like it was because he didn't have no authority to do that. He's not the owner of the White House. We own the White House. The people. We the people. They need to understand. We need everybody listening need to understand. We need you to vote. We need you to talk to your family and friends to vote like you never voted before because the democracy, the republic is in jeopardy for all of us. I don't care whether you're white, black, or green. I don't care whether you speak Spanish or Portuguese. It's in jeopardy for all of us. This is a country big enough for all of us to have a piece of the pie. But we have been denied that because the billionaires have bought our government, took control of our government through their manipulation. Now they got AI. So we have to be very careful because they got AI. They can do things that look real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, so the fraud is bigger than we think. You know, so they you know, these folks are dang. Go ahead, John,
Yeah,
because
it appears to be a situation right now where all this automation and everything that's happening, that's changing things. I think the public is becoming slowly aware of what's going on, and we don't always. A lot of us don't always understand what's going on. But the idea is something is not right when you have a government that's literally doing anything it wants, and because of that. We feel we don't have a voice, whereas before we had a voice.
We had a voice.
We had a vote. We had a voice. We had representatives that we could contact to listen to us. Now we don't have that. And we don't have a situation where you're going to encounter them one-on-one. Now all of a sudden, we find ourselves having to go through someone to get to our representative. And so all of a sudden we realize we're not talking to the decision makers, and we aren't sure how much of our complaints, and that we do have complaints, and the thing that we want to compliment them on is getting back to them.
Well, I'm gonna say this, because you and I went down to McKim Williams' office.
Yep.
And sit there and talk with her representative, and we was expecting to get a audience with her, and got a check.
Yeah,
and got a check. So what I'm just saying, what you're saying is this is evidence of what we're saying, because we put boots on the ground.
Yep.
And that's what we got to expect during this election. These candidates that want to win, they got to come out into the community, because see, they control the media, Tony. Yes. They control the media. So they control the media, and they got the money. If we don't put boots on the ground, come out and campaign to folks and touch these folks in a way that we're going to get them to go to the poll like they've never been to the poll before. And these groups, all these groups in our community that's talking about, are they registering vote people to vote, they got to come together. All of them doing the same thing. They got to come together and put boots on the ground. Like, they got to go into these halfway houses. They got to go into these senior citizen places. They got to go into these hospitals and register people to vote, and make sure that they get it in the mail in time. Get it in the mail in time, so it's gonna be correct because they didn't change. They trying to change the rule. He done issued an illegal order for the mail not to be taking the votes, and he vote by mail.
Yeah.
See the hypocrisy. We got to overcome it by speaking the truth. And people, listen. We got to understand that accountability from our government officials, like you just pointed out, Tony, is crucial. Now we got to let them know in order to get our votes, in order to get past the media not getting to all of us, because all of us in our community are not on social media.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're controlling media, they're not gonna be able to get the kind of money to compete with these guys that got all the money and got control of the media. Yep. You know, so they got to realize that they got to put boots on the ground, and we got to put boots on the ground like we never did before. We got to register folks to vote. We got to make sure they go to the poll, and we got to make sure when they get to the poll, they're not intimidated, bamboozled, bought, or confused.
Yep.
You know, it's that time now. And I'm gonna say, I want to say this. We're already seeing dragons of the government because of the claim system, right? You know, we spent money and time and trained, 12 people. 14 started, 12 completed the program. Back in April, we finished the program, to finish the training. We've been waiting on the VA to let these people take the exam. Ain't got there yet. I'm thinking that they looked at the zip code and say, "Well, we ain't gonna certify them." Why they won't certify these people? Listen. The claim system works.
Yeah,
it works, but you got to have people that know how to work it, right? And this system, this is a new construct at the VA, where if you become a accredited claim agent, you can make up to $150,000 to $200,000 a year helping your people. Mm-hmm. So why are they dragging the exam? And we done contacted them, and every time we contact them, we get a different story about, well, we ain't got the staff and we ain't got the money. But these are our tax dollars. What is wrong with this mega crew that done infiltrated our government? Mm-hmm. We got to vote like we ain't never voted before, because we got to get this stuff out of the government so it can go back to normalcy. Right now, ain't nothing normal going on in the federal government or the state government or the county government or the city government. We just happen to have a city of Atlanta, man, that I'm going to tell you something. I have never seen an administration with so many people in that look like me.
Yeah.
I'm just telling the truth, man. I go down to City Hall and I just see my children. Mm-hmm. I just see faces that look like me, and they working. They trying to do what most of them now. Most of them are working to serve the community. And we need to make sure that this keep going. They are trying to stop this. We got to know when to vote. And this is the time to vote. This is the time for all of them young men that think that they can't vote for a female to look at their mama. Really.
Yeah.
If look at your mama. I'm just gonna say, look at your mama.
Yeah.
If you think you can't vote for a female, your mama took care of you. Why can't we got to come out of that ignorance, man. Yeah. I'm sorry, Tony.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry,
I'll say the interesting thing about it is it reckons back when voting became a popular thing, mm-hmm. and we as voters had to be educated. Mm-hmm. Right now, we got people telling a lot of people, yeah, go register and vote, but they're not educated.
Yeah,
they don't know, and so now there's more to it than registering and voting. You have to have a educated electorate before you're going to get any benefits from registering all these people and they're showing up to vote. They show up to vote and they don't recognize half the people they're voting for.
Yeah, they don't even. That's what Albert E. Love used to say.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know who you who represent you, you done committed suicide.
Yes.
You know, political suicide, because you ain't gonna get the results of your vote.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go and vote for somebody you don't know what kind of background they have.
Exactly.
They might be a wolf in sheep clothing. I mean, I'm a preacher too. Y'all got to realize
but that's a statement of fact, because when you have an uneducated voting community, you have no idea who you're voting for. You go in there, and majority of the people on that ballot that you have absolutely no idea who they are.
Because they're all coming out on media.
Yeah.
They need to come. Listen, I'm not telling them to start running ads now. I mean, they need to stop just running ads. They need to run the ads and have rallies in the community like Jose them used to do.
Yes.
You know, like in the old days, you know, they've had rallies at the churches, Tony. Now, I'm going to say this, and I want to salute Shannon Jones and Concerned Black Clergy and all them brothers over there, because they make some of them politicians come out. We done seen some folks come out to Concerned Black Clergy, you know, but they got to do more than that. They got to do more than that to get this vote. This vote is so important. We need them to rally in the churches and the schools, and then not just rallying, but going to work, you know, and unifying our resources in the community, because we don't have the money they got, but we outnumber them. We outnumber them. And our purpose is more righteous than theirs. Our purpose is to uphold the government that's for the people, by the people, and of the people. And the vote, that's our strongest tool to do this with. And now they're doing everything to discourage the vote coming up in November. And I mean, they throwing everything at them that they can throw at them. The federal government has no role in state elections.
No.
So this guy keep poking his nose in state because mega people are in state, and he's steady trying to get these folks in the federal government. Ossoff need to start coming out in the community, telling veterans what he have already stood up for. Because these guys that's running for office right now ain't been at the VA. They ain't thinking about the VA. They think veterans are suckers and losers. Because that's what their leader said.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, the cost of groceries is up, right? They manipulating gas now because they saying Iran can sell more gas, so it done went down a few pennies. But it's still $4. You know, it's still just $4 when you go to the tank to fill up your gas tank. It's gonna cost you $3 something, and the change you get, it don't matter. Now they done took the pennies out of the economy, so they round that off up until the next nickel.
Yeah.
You know, they have taken over every facet of our government and changing it. You look at what they're doing to public education. Listen, we need to vote, Tony.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wish the spirit of Albert E. Love go drench the community that we come from, because he was the only preacher, besides Greg Fan, the preacher man, and Shannon Jones, but I'm talking about that talked about the election and caused the donut to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about results that he got because he showed us how important our votes are and what we could get if we showed up at the poll the way we need. But this is critical now, because it's one of them Malcolm X moments for me.
Yeah.
It's either the ballot or the bullet.
He was so good at explaining how Atlanta politics work. He broke it down to the point to where you understood the idea of a donut, not and the citizenry me being one of them, realizing that these were the cities that made up 285.
Mm-hmm. And look what we
And
got.
those cities had, not cities, but those citizens made major changes in the city. They were able to realize how important their vote was for that portion of the donut that they lived in, and so they elected representatives that represented them.
Yes.
That was the beauty of it. When I have to admit, I didn't quite get the donuts until he explained the fact that all of these communities around 285 had.
The man had me carrying signs, Tony.
Yeah.
He had me out there carrying signs.
We were out there,
carrying signs.
Kroger and Publix carrying signs, trying to get people elected. And once they were elected, it worked. And once they were elected, they recognized us and we recognized them. And so things got done.
Yeah.
Reverend Shannon said this at the last Concerned Black Clergy. You didn't get in office unless you came through Concerned Black Clergy. I had no idea what a major role that organization played in getting people out to vote and getting people out to vote for things that we were going to benefit from.
And did it.
Yes.
And did it. And yes. They still that voice in the wilderness.
Yes.
And we got to make sure that churches got to come too now. If they got to come back, their preachers got to come out of the pulpit now.
Yep.
And get out into the community right now like they never been before. They got to, if you ain't coming to church on Sunday, I need to be in the house on Monday.
Yep.
What's going on with you, brother?
Yeah.
What's going on with you, sister? Because I know you got problems. Because you ain't showing up at the church.
Yep.
You're not showing up for fellowship. You're not showing up for worship. You're not showing up for praise. And you got these problems that these folks got their foot on your neck, brother. They got their foot on our neck. And we cannot lay down. We cannot bow down either. Go ahead, Tony. Because see, I want to talk about. I want you to talk about the bricks and the memorial, because I don't want people to think that we finished. We're not finished.
We're nowhere near finished, but we're making major progress. Major progress, and the beauty of the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial is that now you can actually go out and see it, lay hands on it. It's visible right there. You can go out and you'll see those of us who purchased commemorative brick. You can see them there, and so now those of us who have purchased bricks, we're now part of a permanent memorial that will exist in this city forever.
And I'm gonna tell you, I put my mom and daddy's name on the brick. I mean, that's just how when you talk about anybody can buy a brick. I bought a brick for my mama and my daddy. My mama and my daddy name on. Why did I want to do that? They had to put up with me. They had my back. They had to put up with me. They had my back when I was messed up, man. When I came back wounded from combat, it was my mama and my daddy, my sisters. I ain't had no brothers, but my mama and my daddy and my sisters took care of me.
Yes.
They was running behind me. So I put my mama and daddy's name on a brick. So I'm just saying, that's what that memorial allow us to do. To honor.
Yes.
And to support too. Honor.
Yeah. And not just but friends.
Yes.
Those people in our community saw how our communities have changed for the better. And this is one way, if you found out that somebody in your community has changed your community for the better, and they were a veteran, let's honor them.
Yeah.
Let's honor them. Yeah. A $100 brick will work wonders. All of a sudden, guess what? When I go down to that memorial, my chest pops out. I am a part of.
I feel like a little praising going on myself, man. When I go down there and I'm able to know that all of my homeboys that didn't make it home, they're home now.
Yes.
They're home now. Yeah. I was talking to Connie earlier today, And you know, she was my sister's best friend. Now she's hooked up with the alumni association and everything. And I told her, I said, Connie, we got the memorial built. I need y'all to look at it. She started telling me people that's on that memorial that I didn't know because of the generational things that this memorial represent, and they represent the people that come out of every community in Fulton County.
Yes.
Every community in Fulton County. So everybody in Fulton County got a right. And I had an interview, man. This interview was a young lady that came from the University of Georgia, right? And she called me and wanted to interview me, and I went down to the memorial. Man, I mean, it's all over Facebook. I put it out there. My sisters, my grandchildren, they got it all over Facebook. She called me because her daddy lived right down the street from the memorial, and he called her and said, "You should do a project on this memorial."
Really?
On this memorial.
Yes.
So the call to unity in that memorial park is working because you're gonna feel that spirit when they get there. Go ahead, Tony. I'm took over, so I appreciate it.
No, but you hit a major point. Is that yes, those guys paid the ultimate price. Yes, those guys are from Atlanta, and so their spirit will always be here.
Their spirit will always be here.
Will always be here. And so we're going to have situations like you just experienced with people who had no idea we were going to have a contact or an influence or affect them. And now we're finding out bit by bit. Oh yes, I knew. So I went to school.
Your school.
Yes.
They ain't just all from one hour. They from Turner. All the tradition.
All of the high schools in the city of Atlanta, all the South contributed their sons for the defense of this country, and some of them ended up paying the ultimate price.
Yeah.
And that's all we want to do is to just honor them. We always, as they say, as long as somebody's there to pronounce their name and recognize them, that spirit will always be there.
Well, Tony, I'm glad you said their names. Now, I went down to the memorial during that interview. I did say that we was gonna have a family, friends, and community picnic at the memorial. Well, I looked at the fact that we have a road race going on in the city, and there's no parking and access to the memorial on the 4th of July will be chaotic and frustrating for everybody. So we changed up. We're gonna do a rally. We're going to do a rally. It's going to be a 2-part rally. We're going to show up. The task force going to go down to the memorial to do a posting of the colors, the flags. Then we're going to Club E at 1862 Princeton Avenue in College Park. And we're going to do a rally. We're rallying the community to honor the sacrifice. You know, we're rallying the community to honor sacrifice. These guys never voted, but vote for them in this election.
Yeah.
You know, we rally not just in the city of Atlanta, but we're going to be rallying all across the nation for these 58,000 that never voted to vote like now, because it's more critical now than when it was in the 60s when we was young and serving in the country, because we didn't have this internal threat to the democracy that we got now. You know, we had racism, we had segregation, but this is something else.
Yes.
This is something that I thought I would never see in control now. They're actually in control of our governments on every level. You know, the state, the city, well, no, they ain't got Atlanta, but they got other cities. They ain't got Atlanta. They ain't got Atlanta yet, but they coming at Atlanta when they went in there and raided the Fulton County voter registration data and took it. We got to vote like we never voted before, and we're having this rally at Club E, and it's going to start at 11 o'clock and go to 2, so we're not going to have you all day. but we're going to rally because we're going to start a movement that's going to overwhelm the polls in November.
Yeah.
We got time to do it, and we're going to do it. We're going to work like veterans work. You know, we're going to work like veterans work, and the community is going to be behind us. You know, we got people that are non-veterans that's working with us, but they coming from loss. They had brothers and husbands that was Vietnam veterans that have passed on because of Agent Orange exposures. Yeah. So they're there with us to fight this fight because they recognize that we need to do something this election that we never had to do before. We got to put boots on the ground all across the nation because these billionaires they done took over media, social media, right, and the economy. Because they own most of the businesses in the country. These people that went to China with this guy own Walmarts, own all these companies that we work, see our people working for every day, but they're underpaying them. They're not having a livable wage in this economy. $16 an hour is not a livable wage in this economy today. It's not enough. So we got to think about what we're voting for and why we voting. And if we don't vote, the consequences are still real.
Yeah.
The consequences are real. The prices in the grocery store are crazy, right? And just because they finishing the wall, they ain't finished it yet. That's a memorandum of understanding. But I don't see nothing that we putting in there that's really understanding when they're going to give unleash Iran financing and give them a $300 billion reconstruction, and they done cut SNAP. They done cut, they cutting Social Security. They're talking about Social Security running out of money. How can they run out of money when people don't work all their life and put it in there? The politicians done used it the way they want to use it. Now they saying it's running out. The young people that's working it right now, paying in the Social Security. So how's it running out? Unless they misusing the fund.
And therein lies the problem. It's called misappropriations of funds. And that's what and the interesting thing about that is they're doing it right in front of us. Mm-hmm. You know, they know they have control of one of the major parties in the country, and the spokesman for that country just happens to be the president of the United States, and nothing controls him other than his greed for power and money, and personal recognition. Mm-hmm. But that's not America. That's not us.
That is anti-America.
Yes.
That is anti-democracy. That is anti the people, the government for the people, by the peoples, and all the people.
Yeah.
And we got an opportunity. It's just not an opportunity, an imperative.
Yes, it is imperative.
That we turn this around. And we got the power because we outnumber them. Mm-hmm. Now, are we going to be bamboozled, bought a bullet out of the accomplishments that we made? The sacrifices that our ancestors made, the founders of this country made. You know, we are all immigrants, and now we didn't let them turn us against the immigrants. You better talk.
No, you're making a fine point here of the fact that we're citizens of this country, but our heritage came from immigrants. Mm-hmm. They were immigrated here. Mm-hmm. Some, particularly in our race, were brought here as slaves, but still, we were given citizenship and all the rights that go with that.
Because of the Constitution.
Yes.
We was able to amend the Constitution. You know, now they trying to unamend it or get it, you know, look at how they got a court finna determine whether birthright citizenship. Somebody slap them folks, man. Somebody help them. I mean, why would you even be considering some stuff like that? That don't even make no sense. But then unraveling the Voting Rights Act didn't make no sense either, but they did it. And that's what we got to really understand. These politicians stacked the code. They stacked the code. And they stacked it we watched them stack the code. Remember during Barack's time, they wouldn't even let him appoint anybody to the Supreme Court. It's time to vote, y'all. Like you never vote before. Go ahead, Tom, because I'm ready. I'm ready to fight.
One of the other things that we see happening right in front of our eyes is distraction. All of the stuff that's going on to distract us from what the challenges are for our democracy. You know, they create these distractions so that we don't focus on the things that we know this country stands for and will continue to stand for. That our citizens, for example, the 240 young men that we're commemorating in Piedmont Park, they paid the ultimate price so that we can have these freedoms that we have right now. You know, I don't want to sound like a commercial, but that's a statement of fact.
It's a statement of
and
fact.
So all we did with that, all we're doing with that memorial is recognizing those guys for what they did.
And the community and their families, the sacrifice that they made. It should not be in vain.
No.
If we sit back and let these folks do what they're doing now, it's totally in vain. Because DEI, what is that? What is that? Who got the nerve to get in my face and tell me that some kind of way I done got education, but I ain't smart enough. I'm incompetent. And that's a bunch of
baloney.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
I just thought I'd say that.
Lord, I repent every day, y'all. So you got to understand that I'm a man, but I repent every day because, like Tony just said, if you can get so distracted, you'll lose your way.
Yeah,
you can be so bamboozled that you fighting the way they want you to fight, but we got to fight with the love of God.
Yeah,
you know, we can't fight with the hate of Satan. You know, we got to understand that's what they use.
Yeah.
You know, we got to understand that we got the love of God on our side, and we got to live it. Because if we don't live it, we're in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah,
we're at that point now. The angels are asking, "Can I find a righteous that's in this crew?" And they're not teasing with us either. You know, they're not teasing with us because Satan is in the march.
Yep.
He's in the march. He's at us. You know, he got something going on, Tony, that we didn't see in Atlanta when we was growing up. They got 14-year-olds and shooting at each other, killing each other on the streets of our hometown. Yeah. They got gun violence in our community like I never seen before.
Yep.
Politicians, those that we elected, the vote is what we need to do right now. And we're calling on all of the community, to think about this, prepare for this, to make sure that you're going to the poll and that everybody in your household is going to the poll this November. And don't be bamboozled by the bullet. Stand firm.
Yep. And so, and before you go to the poll, educate yourself. We don't want you just going to the poll and just casting a vote. We want you to educate yourself on the needs within our community. We've discussed them here, but we want to invite you. You have the opportunity to talk about these things. You know, not just listening to our commentation, but within your community. One of the areas where we do talk about that and these challenges are the concerned black clergy.
Yes.
You know, it is a major organization in this city. Yes. It is our parent organization.
It's our parent.
So,
and I want to say this, Tony, before we go out.
Go ahead.
watch us every week. Subscribe to the channel. Watch us and call in. You can call in and disagree with me in turn if you want to. Jimmy is not here, but I know he's being safe. You can't call in and disagree with Jimmy today. But Jimmy, I hope you're safe, brother, and wish you well. I want to wish all the fathers in the house happy Father's Day.
Yes.
You know, so see you next week. Same place, same time, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's it. We did it again today.